And Amy, did you see Hillary Clinton's Marie Antoinette moment over the weekend in Reno? Listen to this. She's doing one of these, kind of Potemkin campaign stops where she's sampling the offerings from a local chocolatier. And the press tries to ask her questions, and she says...
She's busy eating chocolate, right?
Let them eat chocolate.
Now's a good time for a question, right?
Well, I want you to offer it to all the press. They are so wonderful.
We brought out all plates.
So cooperative, so hardworking. They all deserve it.
Why not outright call Donald Trump a racist
Any
today?
comment on your
No, they love this, Jen.
Any comment on your husband anything said?
Here, everybody try one.
Everybody try one. It's all a big laugh fest. By the way, that Marie Antoinette thing is about let them eat cake.
Yeah.
Let them eat brioche in the day. It may be apocryphal. It comes from a Rousseau biography on Marie Antoinette. He never specifically named her, and that biography's come into question. So I just want you to know.
Well, thank you so much for setting that straight for me and all the listeners.
When you use that with your friends, when you use that let them eat cake reference, and you disparage the name of Marie Antoinette, I just want you to know that it's in controversy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so for questions that Hillary Clinton is not answering, press availability she's not having, and perhaps smartly because she may be using her Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination as House Republicans pursue a perjury case against her for lying under oath before Congress. We want to get a check on the status of that and some other matters related to Clinton dealings, and we're happy to be joined by former state champion and NCAA champion wrestler.
Good for him.
Who happens to be a congressman now. He's kind of he hit his peak in college, and now he's just a member of Congress. He is Congressman Jim Jordan, Republican from Ohio's 4th District. Congressman Jordan, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good to be with you both this morning.
And so, where is that perjury case that you all are trying to construct against Hillary? Where does that stand?
Well, it's been referred to. We sent a letter to both the Judiciary Chairman, the Oversight Chairman, sent a letter to the Justice Department and the FBI saying, look into this. We're not real confident, frankly. I mean, we've seen what the FBI and Justice Department is going to do based on what Mr. Comey and Ms. Lynch told us in July relative to their investigation of Secretary Clinton's email arrangement. So we're not real confident, but nevertheless, she did give false testimony to me, frankly, last October.
Yeah.
I asked her about how many servers she had. She said one. It turned out to be multiple. I asked her to turn them all work-related documents. Obviously, they didn't. There are 15,000 that showed up. We just got that from the FBI a week ago. And she said that they examined her and her legal team examined every single email, which Mr. Comey said they didn't. So when you're, under oath in front of a congressional hearing and you give answers that aren't accurate, that's not a good thing. So they should look into it, but they won't, in my judgment. That's why I would call for a special prosecutor. But frankly, I'm not too sure they're going to do that either. So
we'll
keep going.
Yeah, Congressman, how many classified emails do you believe she sent?
The Comey said several, maybe 100 or so. So we don't know for sure. But based on what Mr. Comey said, she told us in that same hearing that nothing was marked classified. That also turned out to be a false statement. So we'll see. But I think the bigger issue is the fact, remember why they did this. She set this arrangement up because right from the get-go, she wanted to hide information from the public. This was all about the Clinton Foundation. Anyone with common sense, anyone with basic logic understands that. And then when she got caught, she said, we'll decide on the front end. Me and my legal team will decide which ones you get, which ones we keep. The ones they kept, roughly half. The ones they kept, they destroyed, and they even went to, as Mr. Comey testified, to the degree of erasing their personal devices. Her lawyers did. So they did everything they could to hide this information, and still some of it comes out. We're trying to get at it, examine it. What we do have has been redacted heavily, as Mr. Chapin talked about last week. But we'll keep digging.
And on the intent side, this little nugget that came out last week, that according to Trey Gowdy, your colleague on the House Oversight Committee, they used BleachBit, this publicly available utility to delete material from the computer's from a computer's hard disk, BleachBit, and so they're purposely trying to delete so it's unrecoverable, which it seems to me speaks to intent, unless she was just concerned that emails from her yoga instructor saying she's not as flexible as she could be were going to be too embarrassing for her.
something about wedding dresses or yoga. Yeah, no, that shouldn't surprise us. Again, Mr. Comey's already testified last month that the lawyers erased their personal devices, scrubbed their personal devices. They got to decide on the front end which ones we got, which ones they kept, and then they destroyed those. So it doesn't surprise me that they used BleachBit to make sure that things weren't going to be available for the public and the American people to see. Again, just confirming what we all suspected from the get-go. This was set up to make sure when they were doing their pay-to-play, which obviously seemed like what was going on with the Clinton Foundation, that no one would see this evidence, no one could see these emails.
On the topic of the Clinton Foundation, the emails are revealing more, in addition to news agency investigations like AP did last week, revealing more about the intersection or the overlap or the complete consolidation of the State Department with the Clinton Foundation, depending on your perspective. And these are a couple of interesting cats. One guy is a securities trader in Chicago who gets to play with nuclear weapons for donating to the Clintons. And another guy can't even get into this country, but is a major donor to the Clintons. I'm talking about Rajiv Fernando, the Chicago securities trader, and Gilbert Shagori, the Lebanese billionaire who was denied entry into the United States last year because of his ties to Hezbollah.
Yeah, no, it's scary. I mean, here is the chief diplomat commingling at work with what the Clinton Foundation is up to, people giving contributions. And mostly what took place here, it seems like, is they got access. They got access to high-ranking people in the government. They got access to certain events. That's what they were selling, and it sure seems that way based on what we've seen thus far in the email. And the part that I think is probably most troubling for most Americans is this idea that now in America, the greatest country ever, there are now two standards. The vast majority of people think, there's one standard for we the people, and then there's a completely different one if you're politically connected like the Clintons. And somehow you get away with behavior that no one else could get away with. That's what's wrong. That's why I'm so troubled by what we've seen from this Justice Department. When you have a Justice Department that is, in my judgment, much more focused on politics than they are on administering justice, that is a big problem in our country and something that has to change going forward.
Well, it's so obvious, especially in those newly released State Department emails that show the contact between the Clinton Foundation and Hillary Clinton's inner circle, Uma Abedin and others. Big donors were got to handpick who they sat next to at luncheons. Like one donor wanted to sit next to Joe Biden, and of course they arranged that. And it's so clear in these newly released emails.
It's all about access. That's what seems to be for sale. That's what this points to. And again, when the top diplomat in your country is engaging in that behavior, it is wrong. Any other American engaged in those kind of things would be in trouble. But somehow, if your name's Clinton, you're former Secretary of State, former Senator, former First Lady, and you're one of the major party's nominees for president, somehow it's a different standard for you. That is not how it's supposed to work. It is supposed to be equal treatment under the law, regardless of who you are and what your name is.
We're talking to Congressman Jim Jordan, Republican from Ohio's 4th District. And Congressman Jordan, one of the other things your colleague Trey Gowdy suggested last week is that after reviewing the emails that were made available to certain members of Congress with security clearance, some of the emails that the FBI had recovered that Hillary Clinton hadn't previously turned over, that Sidney Blumenthal, her shadowy, lurking confidant, was much more than just some mere advisor. He didn't go on to detail how the FBI characterized Mr. Blumenthal, but he suggests that there's something there with respect to Sidney Blumenthal leveraging his relationship with Hillary to leverage the State Department on behalf of his private clients.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. I have not personally reviewed it. I talked to our legal counsel on the phone last week about his review of the documents, but it doesn't surprise me. Remember, back in the Benghazi, in our investigation there, Mr. Blumenthal is the one who told Hillary Clinton to go take a victory lap after Gaddafi was thrown out because this was her baby, and even used the term Cleo, which is the goddess of history. He says, "Help Cleo now. Help the goddess of history. You'll be remembered for this." Yeah, she's remembered for Libya because Gaddafi was a bad guy, but a bad guy had control of his country. She was the catalyst for pushing the administration to throw him out. And then, of course, we've seen what took place after that happened, and what a chaotic place Libya is today. So it doesn't surprise me that Mr. Blumenthal is the FBI thinks he's a little different than maybe what was initially described by the Clintons.
Speaking of
We saw it in the Benghazi investigation.
and speaking of Benghazi, I wonder what your reaction is to Judicial Watch filing a civil wrongful death suit against Hillary Clinton on behalf of a couple of the families who lost a family member in Benghazi.
Judicial Watch has been very helpful in getting us, helping us get information with their FOIA lawsuits. Look, here's the conclusion. Libya alone should disqualify Secretary Clinton from being President of the United States. This was her baby. She pushed for it when it happened, and we had this terrorist attack 56 days before the election. She told one thing privately, the truth, and she told the American people a different story. She told the parents, Tyrone Woods' father, Sean Smith's mother, a different story than what was accurate, what was truthful. And no commander-in-chief should mislead parents about what happened to their kids when they gave their life for this nation. This is so wrong what she did, and she did it for political reasons, and she started the spin even before the attack was over. When Tyrone Woods is still on the roof of that one building on the annex fighting for his life, she's doing political spin at 10:08 that night when she tries to blame it on the video, and that is as wrong as it could be. That alone should disqualify this individual from being president.
So, Congressman is a member of the House Select Committee on Benghazi and other. You've been in front of Hillary Clinton several times. What does she look like when she's lying to you or misleading the public?
Well, I mean, I don't want to get in how she looks.
Does she do it effortlessly?
She walked into that hearing with Cheryl Mills, Huma Abedin, Heather Samuelson, David Kim. I mean, it was amazing. The legal team she had walked into that hearing last October. They were feeding her information throughout those several hours of questioning. All I know is that when I asked her about why she start the spin at 10:08 when the attack wasn't over, she tried to say that what she wasn't ascribing a motive to the video, but everyone understood that's exactly what she was doing, and including later on. That when after the attack had happened, when she stood there with Tyrone Woods' father and Sean Smith's mother, and told them when they were receiving the remains of their children, she told them the false narrative. So it is what it is. It's just unfortunate that someone in a high position like that wouldn't be straightforward with the American people and wouldn't be straightforward with parents.
One more housekeeping item in response to your idea that in this country we have kind of two systems, one for the rich and powerful and those that are politically connected, and another justice system for everyone else. The impeachment of William Koskin and the IRS commissioner, where does that stand?
We're going to push for that. I mean, again, understand the fact pattern here. With three preservation orders, 2 subpoenas in place, he allows 422 backup tapes to be destroyed, containing potentially 24,000 emails. Some of those are most likely Lois Lerner emails. I mean, here's the guy brought in the president's words to restore confidence in the IRS, and he's done anything but. Remember here, he learned in February of 2014 that there were problems with Lerner's hard drive. He waits, and missing emails. He waits till June before he tells Congress and the American people. And in that same 4-month time frame, that's when they allowed the documents to be the backup tapes to be destroyed. And those backup tapes were under subpoena. Now, any private citizen, you get audited by the IRS, and you allow documents to be destroyed, and or you can't find them, and you wait months to tell the IRS, and then the backup disk that contains those documents somehow gets destroyed in that same time frame. What's going to happen to you? You are getting fined.
Not going to be good.
And you may be going to jail. So the same thing should apply to Koskin. He should be impeached for that kind of behavior.
All right. He is Congressman Jim Jordan from Ohio's 4th District. Congressman Jordan, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate your time.
You bet.
And he joined us.
Take care.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.